Then we have, and funny enough, since I went to go see Iron Man 3 yesterday, and I quite liked it, is the Avengers. And this actually came with a box set that I will show in a later video, a collector set rather, and it came with the fancy slipcover. I simply took it off, and you'll see why later. This one I didn't get a slipcover for, which is Captain America, the First Avenger. I liked that. I thought it was a well-made film. A great film, probably one of the best in the Avengers lead-up films. Iron Man, and this is the 3-disc Ultimate Edition. Great extras on it, especially the whole, getting Robert Downey Jr. to try on the suit and things like that. Great film. This is the bare bones release of Iron Man 2. Maybe someday I'd like to get the collector's. Not in a big hurry. Not as good as the first film, so. Another film I wasn't a huge fan of, but I can understand why a lot of people like it, is The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. A good film, I just wasn't all that into it. Maybe I'm just not a Hulk fan, I don't know. But then we have Thor, another one. With the exception of Iron Man, I would say Thor is probably the best of the pre-Avengers films. So, yeah. They're all pretty good, though. I mean, you can't really go wrong with anything Avengers related. Disney and Paramount, they're just nailing it right now. It's nice to see films based on comic books getting really good treatment. And speaking about comic books getting good treatment, we have the original Tim Burton film, the classic Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. Great film. Then, kind of a weird version of it, Batman Returns. I actually liked this one more when I was a kid. Now, growing up, I think I might actually prefer this one. But both I quite like. Then we start taking a turn for the worse. Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever. Not a bad film, but the problem I found it felt too stagey for me. Where everything's all brightly lit, and they basically took it in two completely different directions. This was, Gotham was more dark. Gotham's all like crazy neon light shows and whatnot. Not a huge fan of that one, but Jim Curry, I thought, did a good job as the Riddler, and that's probably one of the bright spots in that film. And I thought Val Kilmer played a pretty good Batman. I had no gripes with that one. And then easily, I think I'm not alone in this one, the worst film in the 4 Batman films, Batman and Robin, and this is with George Clooney and Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Mr. Freeze, and Uma Thurman plays Poison Ivy, and then it's just a horrible film. Do not recommend it, but to keep the completion and me happy, I had to get it. And all those, by the way, I got them at Walmart for $8 recently, because they've been hard to find, but apparently they released some more, so I was able to find them in one of the $8 bins at Walmart. To my surprise. Then, going into Batman, from the original Batman films to the next set of the Dark Knight trilogy. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, what can you say about that one? And The Dark Knight Rises. This is what lenticular slipcover. I don't know if you can really see it. Just kind of, the Bat logo kind of moves in the background. And of all these, I would have to say The Dark Knight is the best film, followed by Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises. Although all three complement each other quite well, and they all fit where they're supposed to. But yeah, Heath Ledger as a Joker, there's nothing I can really say. I think it's been said to death. Great, great, great trilogy of films. Oh, look, right on. So we have, here I'll get there are 5 or so here. After talking about great films, not a great film, Battleship. Let's get this back up here. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that one. Beetlejuice, that is a great film. Michael Keaton's, I think it's probably his first blockbuster. I think it was his second film after Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which is also a great film. Then we got Ben-Hur. This is actually from the 50th anniversary collector's set that I will show you in a later video. And never actually seen that film yet. But for $12.50 I can't really complain. Then The Big Lebowski, hilarious film. John Goodman, I mean Jeff Bridges, it's all amazing. And Steve Buscemi, and it's pretty awesome too. And then we have, here, I'll just put it here, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I grew up watching this as a young lad, and yeah, great film. I think this is probably the film that kind of started Keanu Reeves' dude-isms, or like, you know, the whole whoa thing that you hear in like Matrix and whatever. Then we got another 5 films here. Here, I'll take 4, just to be a little easier. We have Blade Runner, the 30th anniversary collector's edition. I missed out on the, I think it was the 25th anniversary. That was the first release on Blu-ray. I wanted all cuts of the film, so I missed out, and then I finally was able to find the collector's set of that film at Walmart for fairly cheap. I think around $30. So I thought I'd pick it up. Great film by Harrison Ford. All-time classic. Another good film, surprisingly good film. Cabin in the Woods with lenticular slipcover. And it was funny because I wanted to get this film, but I didn't want to pay the whole 20-some bucks. I didn't know what to expect from it. And so I waited, and then I heard these good things about it, so I stopped. And then eventually when I went to go buy it, the slipcover was no longer available for that edition of the movie. So I stopped, and hoping that maybe someday I'll actually be able to find the slipcover. And of all places, I went into Loblaws, which is a grocery store in Canada, and they had like a bin of like $10 movies, and I was able to find that one in there with slipcover. Great deal and great film. Another great film, probably one of, if not the best movies of all time, by a lot of critics and people like Orson Welles' Citizen Kane. I actually saw this for the first time probably about 2 weeks ago, and while I won't say as far as an actual film is concerned, like the story or whatever, it was a great film. It was interesting. I liked it all the way through, but just the filming techniques in this, I think, was really what made it stand out and why people consider it one of the greatest films of all time. But definitely check this out. And I think you can get it fairly cheaply. You can get it for around $20. I think that's what I paid for it. Great edition. Then all-time classic, comedy classic, I should say, City Slickers, with Billy Crystal and Daniel Stern, and yeah, great film. Just love that film. Too bad they don't have City Slickers 2 out in Blu-ray as of yet, because I would really like to add that to the collection. Then we have a couple more here. We'll give. We have the remake of Clash of the Titans, and then the sequel to that remake, Wrath of the Titans. Commando, can't get enough Ernie in your movie collection. Condemned, starring Steve Austin. Actually quite like that film. And then Constantine with Keanu Reeves. So, first of all, Clash of the Titans, it is the remake. I would love to have the original. The original is by far superior. But I didn't mind these. I know these did a lot of backlash, a lot of criticisms. I didn't mind either one of them. And I thought the sequel wasn't that bad for what they are. I mean, the popcorn flicks. Cheesy, but one hell of an awesome movie. Commando. If you haven't seen Commando yet, go see it. Then we have Condemned. And sorry, by the way, you can probably get this for like $5 Canadian, so there's no reason not to see that film. Condemned by Steve Austin. It's kind of like, well, one of the recent movies, kind of like Hunger Games, where basically it's like a reality show where these prisoners get sent on an island. They have to fight each other to the death, and then the surviving, the surviving person gets set free. And it's actually a pretty good action film. Constantine, Another film that kind of gets a bad rep. I think it's a lot to do with the comic book lovers. And it is based on a comic book. I haven't seen the comic, or sorry, I haven't read the comic book, so I can't give you that kind of aspect of it. But as a film, I thought it was pretty well made. Like at the for the time. Watching it now, though, I found a lot of these special effects were kind of dated. So not a bad film, entertaining nevertheless. And I would have liked to see a sequel. I don't think they're going to bother now. But I thought it was a decent enough film to be worth a purchase. Another film that I haven't seen, got with my Rogers closing sale, Contagion. I think it's about a virus or something. I heard good things about it, but never actually seen it. Contraband, another film. You're gonna see this like kind of like a recurring theme. Contraband, Mark Wahlberg, another Rogers closing sale purchase. And I actually quite like that one. Couples Retreat, and yes, you guessed it, another Rogers sale purchase. Vince Vaughn, pretty hilarious in this one, but other than that, it's not like a great film by any means. And you can guess it, yes, another Rogers sale purchase. Cowboys and Aliens. Not as good as I thought it'd be, but still entertaining. I just thought with having Jon Favreau as the director and having Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford playing cowboys and having aliens in it, I thought it'd be just a little bit more entertaining than it was. But still a decent film. I'm kind of glad I bought it. So. Then we have a 2-pack of Crank and Crank 2. And what I like about, I think this is probably a good time to say this. You'll see a few times in my collection. And actually, let's get back up to here for a second. Now this is an example of buying a 2-pack and not liking the covers, so I simply switched it out with printed covers and putting them in their own cases. So sometimes I do it that way, and other times I leave it in the same case because I think it looks a little better than the Predator collection. And if you actually seen it, I think you'll agree. And never seen these films, but I heard they're really crazy but entertaining films. So and I do like myself some Jason Statham, so I'm sure I won't be disappointed. Alright, so we're probably about not quite halfway yet. We have another film I just recently purchased, Love It, Kevin Costner in Dances with Wolves, the 20th anniversary edition. Got this for $8 at Walmart. Another one, this is the unrated edition of Daredevil with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. And got it for $5 from Best Buy Black Friday sale, or Boxing Day sale rather. And if you're going to see this film, see the unrated version. Then we have Johnny Depp's Dark Shadows, and never actually seen it. My father watched it though, he said it was decent. And it does have a lenticular, I don't know if you can actually see that. It does actually have a lenticular slip with it. Got that at a Videotron, which is pretty awesome considering I got the slip cover with it. Date Night, Steve Carell, love that guy, I think he's hilarious. And Tina Fey is pretty good herself. Never actually seen one of my Rogers sale purchases. Then we have another Roland Emmerich disaster film, The Day After Tomorrow, and I quite like this one. I seen it in theater originally, then I bought the DVD, and then I bought the Blu-ray. Got that one for $5. Entertaining film. I quite liked it. I find Roland Emmerich, when it comes to his disaster films, are kind of hit or miss. Okay, so now we got another one that's kind of a disaster film. We have, well, kind of, it really is. Well, although I guess it's more alien invasion, whatever. The Day the Earth Stood Still, the Keanu Reeves remake. And I got this through the Rogers sale, but unfortunately I found out later that you can get the 2-disc set in the store that gives you the original The Day the Earth Stood Still along with the remake. If I would have known that, I probably would have held off on that one. Not a bad film. Then we have a horror 2-pack of The Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. Never liked it, the Corpses film, but absolutely loved Devil's Rejects. I think that's probably one of Rob Zombie's best films. Then we have the 4-pack of Die Hard, the collection by with Bruce Willis, obviously. Great films. This one has the rated version of Live Free or Die Hard, which to me doesn't really make a difference. I find the unrated version there's a lot of hype about it for nothing. I still enjoy the PG-13 version. Another one with a lot of hype. I hate this film, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that. I'm sure people are going to thumb down my video because of this one comment. But I don't know. I don't really understand what people like about this film. Ryan Gosling is pretty good actor. I like him as an actor, but the whole steering in this, I don't really get why people like it. Now, with that being said, I mean, there's some good action moments in it, some very visceral action moments, violence and whatnot in it that I think were really well done. But I was just bored to tears throughout most of the film, so, and that's all I can say about that one, really. Before I get hanged. Then we have Dread, a great film, and unfortunately no one went to see it in theaters, and because of that, most likely will not have a sequel. But yeah, great film. And this is the 3D version, and you can get it probably for $15 now. I would recommend that one. Quite an enjoyable film. And it has Carl Urban as as Dread in that one. He did very good job. Unlike Sylvester Stallone in the, what was it, 80s or 90s Dread film. Then we have Planes, Trains, or Automobiles, or rather Due Date. This is the Robert Downey Jr., Zach Galifianakis comedy. Both really good in this film. And what can I say about Robert Downey Jr.? The guy's awesome. A film I bought at Videotron, never actually seen it yet. Heard really good things about it. Might watch it tonight. Is End of Watch with Jake Gyllenhaal. And then we have another one, all-time classic, Johnny Depp's Edward Scissorhands. Really good performance by Johnny Depp in that one. Then we have Expendables and Expendables 2. Roger's Sale. Got this at Videotron for I think $10. I enjoyed Expendables 2 more than the first one. Both are enjoyable for what they are. I think anybody going into these films expecting like an engaging story is probably the wrong crowd for that type of film. Okay, so now we got another couple here. Not really related, but here we go. We got Extract. Jason Bateman. Never actually seen it. Heard alright things about it. Nothing special. Then we have one of my all-time favorite series of horror films, the Evil Dead trilogy. So we have Evil Dead, the original. I hear the remake is very well made. I might get that one. Then we have Evil Dead 2. Definitely the best of the three. And then Army of Darkness. This is a Screwhead edition, which unfortunately isn't that great of an edition. Doesn't have a lot of special features, and the quality transfer isn't all that great. But when you're a big fan like I am, you tend to, bend over and buy whatever they give you, and that's basically what they did. So then we have another one. Star Wars fans will love. It's Fanboys. Seth Rogen plays a few characters in this, and at the time I didn't know about that. So he did such a great job. I didn't even know it was him. So great film. I like that one. Then kind of appropriate considering the sixth one is now in theaters. We have Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious, and then finally Fast 5. And I would think people would agree with me that the first and the fifth one are probably the best in the series. But and probably the third one is probably everyone's least favorite. Mainly because it doesn't have a lot of the, or any of the characters really of any of the films. But yeah, you know, they're not great cinema by any means, but they are entertaining nevertheless, and I quite like them. And we have, let's just complete the last two movies on this row. We have Fight Club. Always hear great things about the film, never actually seen it. We'll probably watch it this weekend. And then Finding Nemo, one of my favorite Pixar films of all time. And yeah, so looks really great on Blu-ray.